Hey, it's April 14th, and we find ourselves in 1 Samuel chapters 21 through 24. And David is on the run from King Saul. In the beginning of chapter 1, apparently he's left Jerusalem so fast that he didn't take anything with him. And so he and probably about 4 guys that are with him stop in the city of Nob and ask the priest there if there's anything that they can eat. He offers them the bread of the presence, which is only lawful for the priests to eat. David accepts it, and the priest also gives David Goliath's sword because he also didn't grab a sword or a spear. In verses 10 through 15, David actually flees to the city of Gath. This is the capital city of the Philistines, so probably the last place Saul would look for him, but the Philistines recognize him and they tell their king. And so when they bring him to see the king, David pretends to be insane, like drooling in his beard, scratching on the walls, everything. And so the king just sends David away because he says, I've got enough crazy people in my kingdom, I don't need another one. And so in chapter 22, Saul ends up killing the priests that helped David and Nob. However, one does escape, runs to tell David what happened, and David agrees to protect him from King Saul. In chapter 23, even though David is on the run, with God's blessing, he turns aside and saves a town that the Philistines are attacking. And in chapter 24, we see the first of 2 times where David spares Saul's life. It says that Saul goes into a cave to relieve himself. This happens to be the very same cave that David and some of his men are hiding in. But instead of killing Saul, David simply sneaks up behind him, cuts off a corner of his robe, and sneaks away. Once Saul is far enough away, David comes out of the cave and says, hey, I could have killed you, but I didn't. Holds up the corner of the robe. Saul sees that it's missing, and it's proof that David doesn't want to kill him, and so Saul agrees to stop chasing David, for now. But for today's takeaway, I actually want to go all the way back to chapter 21, because this is an event that Jesus himself uses to show how God's laws are actually for our good, not our harm. In Mark chapter 2, verses 23 through 27, also in Matthew chapter 12 and Luke chapter 6, Mark writes, on Sabbath he was going through the grain fields, and as they made their way, his disciples began to pluck heads of grain. And the Pharisees were saying, look, why are they doing what is not lawful on the Sabbath? All they were doing was picking the heads of grain, rubbing them between their hands to get the chaff off, and then eating the grain kernels. The Pharisees defined that as work and not lawful on the Sabbath. Verse 25, Jesus said to them, have you never read what David did when he was in need and was hungry? He and those who were with him, how they entered the house of God at the time of Abiathar the high priest, and ate the bread of the presence, which is not lawful for any but the priests to eat, and also gave it to those who were with him. And he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. You see, God's laws are meant to give us the true life that God created and saved us to live. So when David was running for his life, God provided him with the food that he needed. Also a sword, which was more than he needed. Jesus was showing the Pharisees that the Sabbath was meant to give us the physical rest that we need. God was more concerned with our physical needs than their false worship. My prayer for us today is that we see God's commands for what they truly are. They are not just arbitrary laws that are meant to make our lives miserable. They are meant to protect us from sin's direct negative consequences, provide us with the blessings of obedience, and ultimately to point us to Jesus, the only one who can provide what we truly need. If you haven't done so already, please download our Through the Bible reading plan at aspericommunitychurch.org/throughthebible. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.